The elevator doors slid open to reveal a young woman crumpled in the corner, her silk dress wrinkled and stained, tears streaking her cheeks as if they'd been falling for hours. She didn't lift her head. Her fingers trembled around a clutch purse, her bare feet tucked under her like a forgotten child. A man stepped in, balancing a paper bag of groceries, and his sleeping daughter curled against his shoulder. He froze. "Take me home or I'll cry," the woman whispered, her words half laced with defiance, half laced with desperation. The man blinked, unsure. "I don't know you," he said. She finally looked up, mascara running like ink in rain. "Exactly." His 5-year-old daughter stirred and mumbled, "Daddy, she's sad." He hesitated. A decision danced in the space between them. Then, with a sigh that felt heavier than the bag in his hand, he stepped forward and helped her to her feet. The elevator doors closed. One broken woman, one reluctant man, one silent child, and a night that would rearrange their lives forever. The hallway outside his apartment was dim, lined with flickering wall sconces and echoes of midnight silence. He unlocked the door cautiously, glancing back at the strange woman clinging to the wall like a ghost. His daughter yawned in his arms, whispering, "Are we helping the princess, Daddy?" He didn't answer. The woman stumbled in, blinking at the modest interior like it was another planet. "It's small," she muttered, then added, "but it smells like toast and hope." He set his daughter down on the couch and offered the woman a blanket. "You can sleep here tonight. That's all I can offer." She laughed, bitter and soft. "Better than what I had." The man nodded. "I'm Sam," he said. "My daughter's Lily. You?" The woman hesitated. "I don't know who I am tonight," she whispered, then curled up on the couch and pulled the blanket tight. The apartment was quiet, broken only by the hum of the fridge and the soft ticking of an old wall clock. Sam cleaned up the spilled groceries while glancing over at the sleeping woman. Her face, once soaked in tears, had relaxed into something peaceful. Lily snored gently in the bedroom, tucked beneath her cartoon blanket fortress. Sam poured a glass of water and placed it beside the couch. He stared at her for a moment too long. "What happened to you?" he asked under his breath. Her fingers twitched in sleep. Maybe she heard him. Maybe not. He stepped away, unsure what part of him had agreed to this. She was a stranger, but something about her sadness mirrored his own. He walked into the kitchen, turned off the light, and the room fell into gentle darkness. Sunlight crept through the blinds the next morning, painting lines across the woman's face. She stirred, blinking at the unfamiliar ceiling. Her head throbbed. Her mouth was dry. Then came the realization, this wasn't her penthouse. Panic surged. She sat up too fast. The little girl was sitting on the floor playing with crayons, completely unfazed. "Hi," Lily said. "You were sad. Daddy let you sleep." The woman swallowed hard. "Where am I?" Sam entered with a mug of coffee. "You're safe. That's all you need to know for now." She looked at the coffee like it was a peace offering. "Thanks, I think." He nodded, handed her the mug, then added, "You can leave when you're ready." She didn't reply. The crayons kept scratching. The silence held. She sipped the coffee slowly, its bitterness grounding her. The room was quiet. Outside, the city had already roared to life. She stared at the little girl drawing spirals in red and green. "Why did your dad help me?" she asked. Lily looked up and shrugged. "He says sometimes people need rescuing, not just princesses." The woman blinked. Something fragile cracked open in her chest. Sam stood near the doorway, watching them. "You can stay a while," he said, voice careful, "if you're not ready to go back yet." Her eyes met his. Back to what? He didn't answer. They didn't need to. In the quiet morning light, with a child's crayon drawing between them, the boundaries of their broken lives blurred. The next morning, she stood at the kitchen counter, clutching the mug Sam had given her like it might explain everything. Her hair was combed now, her face washed, but the sadness still clung to her shoulders. Sam was making scrambled eggs, while Lily danced around the table, humming a tune only she knew. "You don't have to pretend you're okay," Sam said without looking at her. She froze. "Is it that obvious?" He turned, spatula in hand. "No one ends up in an elevator barefoot and crying for no reason." Her lips twitched, but no smile came. "My name's Evelyn," she said at last. "Thought I should say that before I vanish again." He just nodded, handed her a plate. "Eat it first. Disappear later." It wasn't an offer. It was a dare. She sat. The toast was burnt, but the silence tasted like warmth. Evelyn sat on the apartment balcony, knees tucked under her, cigarette unlit between her fingers. The city stretched out before her, loud and alive, but she felt like she was behind glass. Lily opened the screen door and padded out barefoot. "You don't smile much," she said simply. Evelyn glanced at her. "I used to, then I forgot how." Lily sat beside her. "Wanna learn again?" Evelyn blinked. "Maybe." Sam stepped out a moment later, holding a small envelope. "You dropped this in the elevator." Evelyn hesitated before taking it. Inside was a Polaroid, her and her sister, laughing at some charity gala. Her throat closed. "That was the last day I believed her," she whispered. Sam said nothing. Lily leaned her head against Evelyn's shoulder. For the first time in weeks, she didn't pull away. Later that day, Evelyn explored the small apartment, fingers trailing the framed photos along the hallway. One showed Sam in a hospital bed holding newborn Lily, eyes rimmed with exhaustion and pride. She stopped at a second photo, Sam in uniform. "You were military," she murmured. He appeared behind her. "Once." She turned. "And now? Now I'm the guy who cooks terrible toast and drives a delivery van." She laughed. It was small, but it was real. "Better than the guy who builds castles on lies," she muttered. He studied her. "That what he did?" She nodded. "Fiancé, sister, the usual cliché, except mine came with headlines." Sam's voice softened. "You don't look like a headline." She shrugged. "That's because I erased myself from the story." He didn't speak. "Well, some stories are too raw for rescue." Sam drove her to the pharmacy. She sat in the passenger seat, sunglasses on, arms folded tight. It wasn't about the pills. It was about the fear of being seen. "Someone might recognize me," she murmured. "They'll talk." Sam didn't look at her. "Let them. They don't know what they're talking about." She said nothing. The car moved in silence until he added, "Lily had a fever last year. No one came. Just me and a cold rag and 1,000 prayers." Evelyn turned her head. "And now you're rescuing strangers in elevators?" He exhaled. "Maybe I needed to prove I still could." Outside the window, the pharmacy loomed. She didn't move. He didn't rush her. When she finally stepped out, she left the sunglasses on the seat behind her. They returned to the apartment as twilight painted the sky in soft, bruised tones. Lily ran ahead to feed her goldfish while Evelyn lingered by the door. "I should go," she said. Sam leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "To where?" She didn't answer. He took a breath. "I'm not asking you to stay. I'm asking if you even have a place to go." Evelyn bit her lip. "I had a condo. Now I have paparazzi parked outside it, and a family who won't answer my calls." Sam's eyes softened. "Then stay here, until you figure it out." She looked at him, something unreadable flickering behind her gaze. "I don't want to owe anyone." He nodded. "Then consider it a loan. Pay me back with peace." She smiled. This time, it almost reached her eyes. Evelyn sat on the couch, her fingers slowly tracing the seams of a worn pillow, while the evening news buzzed low in the background. A photo of her and her ex flashed briefly across the screen. Sam entered from the kitchen, holding a bowl of popcorn. "Turn it off," she muttered. He didn't move. "Are you sure you don't want to face it?" She looked up sharply. "I've faced enough. I don't need to hear reporters inventing the rest." Sam sat beside her. Lily doesn't watch the news. She just sees you helping with dishes and tying her shoes. That's the version that matters. Evelyn's voice cracked. But I know the other version. He nodded, voice steady. Then changed the ending. For a moment, the noise of the world faded. The pillow in her hand stopped trembling. And she didn't look away. A knock echoed at the door. Evelyn flinched. Sam opened it to find a woman in her early 30s, well-dressed, lips tight, eyes searching. Is she here? Evelyn stood in the hallway, frozen. Clara, she whispered. Her sister's voice sliced the air. Do you have any idea what you've done? Evelyn's fingers curled into fists. You mean vanishing? Or exposing the truth? Clara stepped forward. The truth doesn't matter. Only perception does. Sam stood between them. This isn't a good time. Clara glared at him. You think hiding her will make her whole? Evelyn took a step forward. No, but it might give me space to remember who I am without you. Clara hesitated. You're still my sister. Evelyn shook her head. Not if you can't see the damage. The door closed. The silence afterward felt like surgery. Evelyn didn't speak for hours after Clara left. She sat in the bathtub, knees pulled to her chest, letting the water cool around her. Sam knocked once, then opened the door halfway. You okay? She didn't look up. Do you know what it feels like when your whole life is a lie? He exhaled. I know what it's like to build a new one from rubble. She blinked. How? He stepped inside, sat on the closed toilet lid. I loved someone. She didn't survive the birth. I spent 3 years trying to be 2 parents. Evelyn looked at him, eyes wide. I'm sorry. He smiled, small and broken. Don't be. Lily's my anchor, and maybe you need one too. She nodded, water dripping from her chin. Maybe I do. That night, the silence between them turned into understanding. Lily ran through the park, her laughter trailing like music in the wind. Evelyn followed behind, slower, watching the world through the filter of second chances. Sam leaned against a tree, arms crossed, a rare grin tugging his lips. She's fast, Evelyn said, catching her breath. You should see her with a popsicle in hand. Evelyn chuckled. You two, you really saved each other, didn't you? Sam nodded. Still are. She looked at him. Do you think some people don't deserve to be rescued? He met her eyes. I think the ones who ask that question are already halfway there. She swallowed hard. The breeze picked up. Somewhere deep in her chest, something shifted. She wasn't healed. But maybe she wasn't running anymore. That night, they sat around the small kitchen table, eating cereal by candlelight, a power outage having darkened the city block. Lily giggled with every bite, delighted by the novelty. Evelyn caught herself laughing too, the sound startling in its purity. Sam poured milk into her bowl and said, This is probably the most honest dinner I've had in years. She smiled. No pretense, no paparazzi, no lies. He raised his spoon. To survival. The awkward, real kind. They clinked spoons like wine glasses. In the flickering candlelight, Evelyn looked around, at the humble walls, at the child's joy, at the man who'd opened his door to her pain. And for the first time, she whispered, I don't want to leave. Sam didn't answer. He just nodded, like he already knew. Evelyn sat on the edge of Lily's bed, tucking her in as the child clutched a threadbare teddy bear. Tell me a story, Lily whispered. Evelyn hesitated, then nodded. Once upon a time there was a girl who lived in a tower of glass. Everyone thought she had everything. Jewels, gowns, even a crown. But no one knew she was lonely. Lily blinked sleepily. What happened to her? Evelyn brushed hair from her face. One day the tower cracked, she fell. Everyone saw her as broken, but someone caught her. Lily yawned. Was it a prince? Evelyn smiled. No, just a man with burnt toast and a brave little girl. Sam watched from the doorway. The bedtime story wasn't for Lily. It was Evelyn's confession. In a quiet room, under soft blankets, she let truth wrap around her like a lullaby. Sam stood on the apartment balcony, arms crossed, staring into the blur of city lights. Evelyn joined him, pulling her cardigan tighter. "You're quiet," she said. He didn't look at her. "Tomorrow makes 3 years since she died." Evelyn swallowed. "Lily's mom?" He nodded. "Emily. We were supposed to move out of this place. Start fresh. Instead, I stayed frozen." Evelyn leaned against the railing beside him. "Do you still miss her?" He nodded slowly. "Every day, but the weight has changed. Some days it's just a whisper." She looked at him, vulnerable. "And now?" He met her eyes. "Now it feels like something's starting again. And that scares the hell out of me." Evelyn reached out, took his hand gently. "Me too." Below them the city kept moving. But up here, time paused. The next morning brought noise Evelyn had almost forgotten. Camera shutters. Paparazzi swarmed the sidewalk below. Her photo must have leaked. She froze at the window. "They found me," she whispered. Sam looked up from packing Lily's lunch. "Are you safe with them?" She shook her head. "They'll twist whatever they find. I'm their scandal of the week." Lily walked in, crayon in hand. "Are those your friends?" Evelyn forced a smile. "Not really, sweet pea." Sam handed her a hoodie. "You can hide, or you can show them you're not ashamed anymore." She stared at her reflection in the glass. Fear sat in her throat. But deeper inside, something stronger stirred. "Then we go out the front door." Sam nodded. Side by side. The past was knocking. She was ready to answer. They stepped into the light together. Sam's hand on Evelyn's back, Lily walking between them with a lunchbox swinging at her side. The flashes began immediately. Voices called her name. But Evelyn kept walking, head high, eyes forward. Sam's calm presence grounded her. A camera blocked their path. Sam gently pushed it aside. "Enough," he said firmly. Evelyn turned to the nearest reporter. "I made mistakes. I trusted the wrong people. But I'm not hiding anymore." Silence rippled through the crowd. The reporters hesitated, as if unsure what to do when the prey stood still. Then Lily tugged Evelyn's hand. "You were brave," she whispered. Evelyn smiled. "No, you were." They walked on, leaving behind the storm. And for the first time, Evelyn didn't feel like she was running. She felt free. Back inside, Evelyn leaned against the apartment door, breath ragged. "You okay?" Sam asked. She nodded. "That felt like a war zone." He chuckled. "You handled it better than I would have." Evelyn wiped her eyes. "I wasn't crying. Just adjusting." Lily danced past, spinning in circles. "Mommy used to spin like that," Sam said softly. Evelyn looked at him. "Do you still see her?" Sam's voice grew quiet. "Only when I'm afraid I'm not enough." Evelyn stepped closer. "But you are. For her. For Lily. For me." The silence between them stretched, comfortable, not heavy. Then Evelyn reached up and touched his cheek, trembling. "I didn't expect this. Any of it." Sam leaned forward, forehead touching hers. "Maybe that's how the best things start." Outside, the storm faded. Inside, something new took root. Evelyn stood in front of the mirror, her reflection clearer than it had been in months. She wore jeans, a t-shirt, and no makeup. Honest armor. Sam entered the room holding a small envelope. "This came for you." Inside was an invitation, her father's charity gala. Her name printed boldly, as if the scandal never happened. "They want me back," she muttered. Sam studied her. "Or they want to control your story again." She nodded. "But I need to face them, on my terms." Sam hesitated. "You sure?" She looked at her reflection one more time. "I don't know what I'm sure of, but I know I'm done being silent." Lily peeked in. Will there be cake? Evelyn laughed. I hope so. The laughter made her feel like someone she used to be, someone she could be again. The ballroom sparkled with chandeliers and judgment. Evelyn stepped through the grand doors, Sam beside her, Lily in a tiny dress clutching a toy wand. Heads turned. Murmurs rose. Her father approached, tall, polished, unreadable. You made a scene, he said under his breath. Evelyn's gaze stayed steady. I survived one. His eyes narrowed. This isn't your world anymore. She took a breath. Then, I'll build one of my own. Behind her, Sam's presence felt like a shield. Her father glanced at him. And this is your rescue. Sam smiled. No. She did that herself. Evelyn felt the sting of old shame fade. The lights overhead didn't blind her this time. They revealed her. She stood taller, heart pounding, not from fear, but from power reclaimed. She found her sister near the bar, alone in a sea of sequins. Clara turned slowly, glass in hand. I didn't think you'd come. Evelyn exhaled. I needed to see you, one last time. Clara's voice cracked. You made me the villain. Evelyn's tone softened. You made me disposable. A pause. Clara looked down. I was jealous. You had Dad's approval. I had to steal scraps. Evelyn blinked. So you stole him too. Clara's jaw tensed. He was never yours. Evelyn shook her head. No, but neither were the lies. She walked away, heels echoing across the marble, her spine unbent. For the first time, Clara didn't follow. Evelyn didn't need forgiveness, just closure. And she found it in her own reflection as she crossed the ballroom alone. Outside the venue, Evelyn stood under the night sky, shoulders bare and heart racing. Sam joined her, Lily asleep in his arms. You okay? He asked. She nodded slowly. It wasn't pretty, but I said what I needed. Sam looked at her, pride softening his face. That's what strength looks like. Evelyn glanced at Lily, sleeping soundly despite the noise inside. Do you think we're enough for her? Sam stepped closer. I think we already are. She looked up at the stars. Funny. I thought I needed the world's approval. Turns out I just needed a tiny apartment, a grumpy man, and a girl with a crayon crown. Sam chuckled. You forgot burnt toast. She smiled. Never. The limo headlights came on, but she didn't move. She'd already arrived where she belonged. Back home, Lily was tucked into bed, her crown placed beside her pillow. Evelyn wandered the kitchen, barefoot, aimless. Sam stood by the window, sipping tea. You didn't just face them, he said. You eclipsed them. She leaned against the counter, eyes tired but clear. I didn't know I had that in me. Sam turned. That's the thing about light. It shows up strongest after the dark. Evelyn stepped toward him, slower now, deliberate. What happens next? She asked. He set down the cup. That's your story to write. She reached for his hand. Maybe you could be in the next chapter. Sam's smile was small, certain. I'd like that. Outside, the moonlight spilled across the floor. Inside, two people stood quietly on the edge of something beautiful. Weeks passed. Evelyn began volunteering at a local youth shelter, helping girls who reminded her of her younger self, sharp edges hiding soft wounds. One evening, she returned home late to find Sam asleep on the couch, Lily curled on his chest like a kitten. The TV glowed softly, casting their faces in pale light. Evelyn paused in the doorway, her heart aching with a strange mix of gratitude and fear. Could she really be part of this? She sat beside them carefully, resting her head against Sam's shoulder. He stirred. Hey, he murmured. Row day. She nodded. They're angry, lost, just like I was. Sam reached for her hand in the dark. And now you're showing them a way out. She whispered. I hope I don't fail them. He kissed her forehead. You won't. In the hush of that moment, she almost believed it. The next morning, A letter slid under the door. Evelyn picked it up and froze. It was from her father's lawyer. "They want to settle," she told Sam. "Silence, probably. A payout. And a press release." Sam folded his arms. "And?" She sighed. "I could take it. Start a foundation. Fund real change. But it would mean never speaking of what happened again." Lily danced through the room in her pajamas, completely unaware. Evelyn watched her, then turned to Sam. "If I take their hush money, I'm no better than the silence that protected them." Sam said, "Then tell your story," loudly. She nodded, tears stinging her eyes. "They don't get to rewrite me." Outside, the wind picked up. Inside, she picked up a pen. The first line she wrote wasn't for the media. It was for herself. Evelyn sat on a local talk show stage, fingers interlaced, lights blazing down. The host leaned in. "Why now?" Evelyn took a breath. "The silence protects power, and I refuse to let my pain serve anyone but me anymore." Cameras rolled. Viewers leaned closer. "I made mistakes. I stayed quiet too long. But I've also grown. I've built something better. Real." Her voice didn't shake. Her hands didn't tremble. When they played footage of her past, she didn't look away. Sam and Lily watched from home, pride glimmering in their eyes. Evelyn turned to the host. "This isn't revenge, it's restoration." The audience went still. For a moment, no applause. Just the sound of a woman stepping fully into her own story. It was the loudest silence Evelyn had ever heard, and it healed something. That night, her phone rang non-stop. Agents, reporters, strangers offering deals. Evelyn silenced them all. She stood on the rooftop, barefoot in the wind, city glowing beneath her. Sam joined her, a quiet presence. "They want your voice now," he said. She nodded. "But they never cared about what it cost me to find it." He stepped beside her. "What do you want?" She turned to him. "I want to write my own ending. One that isn't about redemption or scandal or legacy. Just love." Sam smiled. "Then start with us." She reached for his hand. "I already did." The wind carried their silence across the sky. Not heavy. Not broken. Just two people, flawed, scarred, and somehow whole, standing where the past couldn't reach anymore. In the quiet of dawn, Evelyn sat at her desk, fingers flying across a keyboard. The manuscript grew by the hour, stories of survival, of silence shattered, of imperfect love. Sam brought her coffee, setting it beside her with a kiss on her head. "You're almost done," he said. She nodded, eyes still on the screen. "It's not about the truth anymore. It's about who I became because of it." In the next room, Lily laughed at something on TV, her voice filling the apartment with light. Evelyn paused, then typed the last line. She didn't want to be rescued anymore. She wanted to live. She hit save. Sam rested his chin on her shoulder. "What's it called?" She smiled. "The Girl in the Elevator." And for the first time, it wasn't a title. It was a triumph. Evelyn stood outside the bookstore, her name printed boldly across the glass window. Inside, rows of people clutched copies of her memoir, The Girl in the Elevator. Sam stepped beside her, brushing lint from her blazer. "You ready?" She smiled nervously. "They know everything now, my worst moments, my real voice." He nodded. "And they showed up anyway." Evelyn stepped inside to applause that felt like a sunrise, warm and earned. She spoke softly. "This story isn't about falling. It's about how someone stayed when I couldn't stand." In the crowd she saw familiar faces. Former enemies, old friends, strangers crying. And in the front row sat Lily, her paper crown askew, grinning proudly. Evelyn's hands no longer shook. She'd stepped out of survival and into story. And people listened not out of curiosity, but respect. Later that night, Evelyn walked alone through the aisles of the bookstore, fingers brushing familiar spines. She paused in front of a children's section where Lily sat cross-legged, reading to a smaller child. "You're good at that," Evelyn said. Lily beamed. "I'm practicing. I want to tell stories too." Evelyn crouched beside her. "What kind?" Lily answered, "Happy ones, but not fake happy. The real kind, where people still cry, but they end up okay." Evelyn blinked back sudden tears. "That's the best kind." Behind them, Sam leaned on a shelf, watching both girls with a look only earned by men who have nearly lost everything. Evelyn turned to him. "We made something good, didn't we?" He said simply. "You made something true." And in that moment, truth felt like the greatest gift of all. Back at the apartment, Evelyn found the box, the one she hadn't opened in months. Inside were photos, tabloids, the engagement ring, and a crumpled apology letter. She sat on the floor, sorting her ghosts. Sam entered quietly, lowering himself beside her. "You don't have to do this," he said. Evelyn shook her head. "I do, but not for them. For me." One by one she tossed the pieces into a trash bag. When she reached the ring, she paused. "This used to mean forever." Sam didn't speak. She slipped it into the bag. "Turns out forever is quieter than I thought, and stronger." He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "You've got space now. Fill it with better memories." She leaned into him. The bag sat between them, heavy but no longer sacred. The next morning, Lily raced into the bedroom with a homemade crown and 3 cups of orange juice. "Wake up, it's celebration day." Evelyn groaned. "Celebration of what?" Lily declared. "Of everything being okay." Sam stretched beside her. "She's not wrong." They got up, messy-haired and laughing. Pancakes burned. Music played from an old speaker. They danced barefoot in the kitchen, spilling syrup, creating chaos. Evelyn laughed so hard she cried. Sam pulled her into a spin, then a hug. "This is it, isn't it?" she asked, voice muffled in his chest. "Real life." He kissed her forehead. "It's not perfect, but it's ours." Lily jumped between them, arms raised. Family hug. They folded into her. 3 broken pieces, fused into something whole, not flawless, but finally free. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep with crayon drawings scattered around her, Evelyn and Sam sat on the couch. No words, just soft breathing and quiet. Then Evelyn whispered, "Do you think it ever goes away? The fear?" Sam replied, "No, but it gets smaller when we're not alone." She nodded. "I was so close to disappearing." He touched her hand. "But you stayed. That's everything." Her eyes glistened. "You saved me." Sam shook his head gently. "No, I just opened a door. You chose to walk through it." Silence settled. Then Evelyn leaned in and kissed him. Slow, sure, certain. When they pulled apart, she whispered, "I'm not the girl in the elevator anymore." Sam smiled. No, you're the woman who walked out of it." And that was the final line her story needed.